I hope that fight happens. I don't totally get that fight, but I respect Ngannou if he would take that fight. And the reason I say that is Ngannou has shown a weakness against guys that know how to wrestle. Cain most certainly knows how to wrestle, even though he usually doesn't choose to do it. He likes to come out there and bang, which I would imagine is what the matchmakers are thinking he's going to do to give us a very fun contest. But either way, Ngannou deserves a lot of credit, man. He had a tough year. And it wasn't all his fault. Derek Lewis was his fault. Whatever the hell happened out there that never got him off of the mound, I don't know, but sure, if you got to assign some blame, I guess we'll give it to him. But what a comeback he made. Getting on a plane, taking on a younger, athletic Curtis Blades, who represented a very similar style to Stipe. In many ways to Derek Lewis, in fact. On paper. A wrestler with heavy hands. Okay. And then to get back in there in a 5-round situation against the most intimidating heavyweight of all time. I think he gets credit. I think if you look at that fight, I'm always very hard on Cain, but it comes from a good place. I respect him tremendously as a person, but also as an athlete, and maybe in front of everything else for his work ethic, which he's very well known. I'm hard on him because he doesn't show up for work very damn often. When you're talking about the great heavyweights of all time, I feel like we should just be able to say Cain Velasquez and move on with it, but we can't. Because you always have to go back to the fact of the other guys who, yes, have suffered more losses than Cain, but they also walked out there more times than Cain. It's a numbers game. You're going down at some point. If you don't walk out there but once a year, or in his case, once every 2 years, it's kind of how to look at the body of work and give a fair assessment one way or the other. So my analysis here, regardless of how negative I may be sounding about Cain, my analysis is actually quite different. I'm thrilled that he's back. I love that he's back. Now he's going to take on a guy that was a number one contender within the calendar year, and he's going to do it in a 5-round situation. I mean, Cain deserves some credit too. And I think matchup-wise, you could have some real fun there. Cain is one of those wrestlers that fell in love with his hands, and for good reason. They're really good. Turns out he can box. But he will also put himself in some precarious situations he doesn't need to be in. Go see the night that he lost the world championship to Junior Dos Santos in a minute. He never needed to be in that position. He could have come out and taken Junior down, but he wanted to box with him. He got clipped and he lost his strap. None of that is negative against Cain. It's to try to project what kind of fight are we going to see here. If you're telling me we're going to see a stand-up fight between Cain Velasquez and Francis Ngannou, you have my attention on a whole nother level. If you tell me we're going to see an MMA fight between the two, great, you still got my attention. But if you tell me we're going to see a slugfest between these two, I will stop what I'm doing and make sure that I am in a position to watch the contest.